Hey, are you Jay Wickenden?
I am.
I'm Tony from SUS, here to ask you 24 questions.
All right.
Thanks so much for coming with us. To start simple, what do you teach and research?
So I'm probably best known for Chem 233. It's a big course on campus for science students and outside. I teach lab courses. I've taught Chem 203 labs and Chem 245 and Chem 235, I suppose. And my research is in alternative assessment strategies. So two-stage exams, ungrading, these types of methodologies.
Wow, that's really interesting. In this case, how long have you been teaching for?
I started teaching in 2011, so close to 15 years now. I started teaching as a grad student. I was officially hired in 2013. So officially it's 13 years, 12 years now, so yeah.
Over the years, you must have had some funny classroom moments then. What's the weirdest question a student has ever asked you?
I think it's not really a weird question. We get an awful lot of questions where students will ask a question and the answer is literally on the slide. So there's a moment where we kind of present the slide like this, and it's just like, here it is, the answer to the question that you've just asked. So yeah, that would probably be the weirdest type question that we get more frequently.
Oh yeah, I'm sure a lot of students have done that before. Well, on the opposite side, have you ever found yourself underprepared for any lecture?
No. Lectures, formal lectures, I practiced before to make sure I know what I'm talking about. When I first started, I started Jumpstart, and that one I wasn't prepared for the whole time. So yeah, that was like my first year there, and I definitely had to improv a little bit at the end of it.
Wow, well, you've definitely improved and improved a lot this time. Since we're already talking about students and your lecture experience, do you ever look at Reddit threads about yourself?
Okay, I don't look for them. They appear. People send them to me, which is another funny thing. So people in my department will send Reddit threads to me. Do I read them? I don't know, sometimes. It's a good way to get feedback from students. Sometimes it's not the best way to get feedback from students, so it depends.
Well, I've personally seen a lot of positive things about you on Reddit.
That's good, yeah.
If you had to sum it up in one sentence for any future students, what advice would you give to a student who wants to succeed in your classes like Chem 233?
Do practice problems and don't study like it's high school. So do not leave it till 2 days before the exam and then try and cram it all in there, because that will not work well in organic chemistry.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Looking back, has a student ever said something to you that really stuck with you over the years?
So I had heart surgery a little bit ago, and so one of the people that was part of the team that was doing the surgery was an ex-student of mine that took the course Chem 233 in the summer term, just about when I started working here officially. So yeah, that stuck with me a while. to hear somebody in the hospital say, "Oh, I was your student, by the way." So yeah, it was good.
It must have been a really proud and honorable moment for you to see your student be in that position.
Yeah, I mean, all of those things. I mean, ultimately, I'm not the one that got this person to where they were at that point, but it's also just comforting to see somebody that you know when stuff like that's happened.
That must be an incredible feeling. Well, switching gears a little, if you could visit any country, which one would it be and why?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I'd like to go to like the UK, England. I've been to many places in the world, and so I'm always open to things, but I would definitely like to go to the UK and check out museums and see the history that's there. Yeah.
Well, you can go with your family, and in this case, as a dad, has that influenced your teaching style at all?
I'm able to function with less sleep. Now, I guess it teaches you patience, although I think everybody who teaches at UBC has patience in the context of helping people get to where they want to go. And yeah, but definitely I can function with less sleep than I did before having children.
In the case of getting where you want to go, let me ask you something a little more personal. Have you ever doubted your career path or thought about doing something outside of academia?
I think imposter syndrome is an actual thing, and so everybody suffers from it, and I do suffer from it, even to this day. You have to overcome the sensation of not belonging at university, but that's normal, and you do belong. I think if I was to do anything else, I've always been interested in law, mainly because I have two brothers and we like to argue about things, so I just want to be better at arguing, I suppose.
That'll definitely prep you for law.
Yeah.
Well, imposter syndrome, I know a lot of students experience that. And when you were a student yourself, how were your grades?
So my first year grades were, I'd call okay. And then I declared my major, so I have an honors degree and a minor in chemistry. All of those things were offered from the school I was from. They definitely got better as time went on. And that's particularly because anybody at university's smart. It's how you prepare for the assessments that really separates individuals in that capacity.
That makes a lot of sense, and a lot of these assessments are completely unexpected.
Yeah.
Speaking of unexpected,
Yeah.
is there something unexpected about you that most people wouldn't guess?
I'm a huge board game nerd. I spend lots of money on board games, which my wife likes or doesn't like. So yeah, I have a group of people I play board games with a lot in my free time.
In this case, do you have any favorite board games that you can name?
So right now we're playing Small World, which is a pretty popular game, but I've got one called Eurorails, which is like Monopoly, but you're building railroads. It's any number of different things that you can imagine. The Game of Thrones games I've got. Yeah, there's just lots of different games that I play.
That sounds like a crazy and fun set of games.
Yeah.
On that note, what was the craziest thing you did during undergrad?
Yeah. I don't know if I want to go into some of the crazy stories. One time I slept in on a final exam, had to take a cab because Uber didn't exist back in the day, arrived with like 5 minutes before the cutoff for entry to the exam occurred, and still got like 90% on that exam. So that was my proud moment.
That's an incredibly proud moment.
Yeah,
I think
it worked out
anyone
well.
would be proud in that moment as
Yeah.
well. Let's roll back to your course. What's one big misconception that students often have about it?
I think that we're a course that weeds people out of programs. The course is designed to help students get where they need to go. And the other misconception is that the failure rate is super high. It is not super high in comparison to what students normally think it is. So yeah, I think that's the big misconception, that it's impossibly difficult. It is not. You just need to engage with us in the material.
Well, chemistry is definitely a lot of accumulation of hard work and studying.
Yeah.
And speaking of students, have you ever gotten a weird gift from a student or a colleague?
So I'll say formally that gifts are not something that we want. People do give gifts, and it's very nice that they do. I had somebody give me a Game of Thrones pop-up book when Game of Thrones was super popular. You know, the books where you open it up and things stand up. And I still have it to this day. My daughter loves it. But that was probably the most interesting gift. It wasn't strange. It was just really interesting and thoughtful. So, yeah.
Well, you may be setting your daughter up for being a fan of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, one day when she's old enough, yeah.
Well, earlier we talked about Reddit. What's the best and worst thing you've read about yourself there?
I think Reddit's a good place to get a sense of what's working and what's not working in any courses that you're teaching. For me anyway, it's like an anonymous feedback mechanism, so I can see what's there. The worst thing I've ever read on there is 1 year there was a typo on the final exam, and the only reason I found out about it was until after the exam had taken place, and it was on there, and even then I didn't check. Somebody notified me that it was being discussed on Reddit, so that was the most difficult one. I mean, you get a lot of positive feedback too, so it's always good to see people really enjoy the course, that they, like any number of people that teach that course, Jolene Reed, Glenn Samus, all these people come up, and it's just good to see, that they're appreciated for what they do.
Well, that's terrible. Was it a big typo?
Students thought it was. It didn't kill the question, but we dealt with it appropriately so that all individuals were dealt with appropriate. Yeah, it was fair, basically. This is a number of years ago. This is a while ago.
Well, I'm not surprised with the professionalism of the chemistry department. Now, we've heard a fun rumor.
Yeah.
You actually went to high school with Ryan Gosling.
I did go to high school with Ryan Gosling.
What was that like?
It was interesting. So Ryan Gosling was very popular amongst a subsection of the school. I didn't really get to know him really well, and he was only there for a brief amount of time, and then he left again to go, and I forget what he was filming at. He'd finished Breaker High, and I think he'd started a show called Young Hercules. So he was there for a window. His mom lives in my hometown, and so that's why he ended up at our school. We didn't know who he was. He would introduce himself as he was on the Mickey Mouse Club, and we're like, nobody in Canada had the Mickey Mouse Club back then, so yeah.
Great to know he's always been popular.
Yeah, he was definitely, you could tell he was destined for big things when you met him.
We also know that you've worked with a lot of professors.
Yeah.
Do you think that, in a sense, you're better than Dr. Samus?
I don't know if I want to answer that question. No, I mean, I'm not better than Glenn. I don't view myself as better as anybody, than anybody. I think everybody has their own style. And so when you teach at university, you have the content, which we're all experts in, and we're giving that content away. But then we're also kind of developing kind of your persona when you teach. And that is, so each person has their own flair. So Glenn is an expert in how he delivers it. I have my own style. Jolene has her own style. So there's a bunch of different ways to deliver the content.
Well, that's great. Everyone's unique. In the sense of style, have your opinions on Dr. Samus changed over the years?
So Glenn and I have a different relationship because he was my PI when I was getting my PhD. So I studied under Glenn, and now I have this relationship with him that's changed a bit in that now we're colleagues and we work on the same course together. So I guess in that context, yeah, I think Glenn and I don't think have changed dramatically. We've always had that kind of relationship that, I don't know, comes with people that work closely together over time. So yeah,
Well, do you think it was easy adjusting to this new dynamic of yours?
At first, no, especially when you get hired in the department where you were trained. And now I think I've gotten a little bit better at it, but it was definitely strange to be a work colleague with people that had been your professors as a student previously.
Yeah, it must have been weird to adjust to.
It was definitely a strange first couple of years of my career.
Well, on a more serious note, in your opinion, what makes a good professor?
I think patience. I always say the classic sin of teaching is to presume your students were you and are you. And so I have to be aware that how students engage with materials changed from when I took it. So just keeping relevant of how to communicate with students and what they need. That's what I would say makes a great professor.
That's great. I'm sure you're an incredible professor yourself.
Yeah, thanks.
So earlier we talked about Reddit. There's another website called Rate My Professor.
Uh-huh.
Do you ever check the reviews there? And if so, how do you take the feedback?
Yeah, okay, so I don't frequently check Rate My Prof. I get asked by students as part of filming to look at Rate My Prof, and so I have in that capacity. You know, Rate My Prof is filled with people that really like you and people that really don't like you, and so I don't know how valid it is as a metric of how good a professor would be. But not to discount people, sometimes have valid points. Generally speaking, come talk to me. If something didn't go well, talk to the professor. I'm sure they can try and help the best that they can if it's something reasonable that they can help with.
That's true. When it's an anonymous platform, people tend to over-exaggerate things.
Sometimes, yes.
Well, to wrap things up with some fun, what's your Halloween costume for this year?
So Halloween's a big deal. My daughter's born on Halloween. My go-to is I have an inflatable T-Rex costume that I wear, which those costumes are funny, but they're super hot to be in. But I wait until Spirit Halloween opens, which should be like next week, and then I go to Spirit Halloween and then I go through what they've got. And I pick something out every year pretty much.
Is it hard to move around in the little T-Rex arms?
Yeah, it's difficult to move around, and that little viewing window, it heats up, and so it fogs up and you can't wipe it from the inside, so it's, yeah, quite frustrating.
Well, to close us off finally, can you give us your best joke to wake up the class?
So one of the jokes that I tell in the teaching lab is, what's the worst thing you can hear a student say inside of a teaching lab is like, oh yeah, we're supposed to vent that, meaning that the pressure's building up and that it's gonna blow, so yeah.
Thanks for having us today. Do you have any further things you want to say to any undergrad students?
Enjoy your time here. You're only here for a short amount of time, and so these years are a lot of studying, but a lot of fun. So make sure that you make the most of these years.
Well, you heard it here, folks. This is 24 Questions with Jay Wickenden. Stay tuned and come back for more.
Yay. Hey.